2:00.864. So around 7-8 tenths away from our best ever lap here in Texas. And that's all a consequence of the fact that we've had some pretty inclement weather so far this weekend. As Santi Hernandez looks on, well, he used to do a meet and greet with Marc Marquez in Parc Ferme here, didn't he? Several times back in the past. 7 poles and 7 wins for Santi Hernandez and Marc Marquez here in Austin, Texas. Previously, we have to say, Joan Mir, this would be some performance by Mir if he was able to put it on the front row of the grid. It's some performance anyway to find himself mixing it in the top 5.
So we're going to watch now Joan Mir follow Marc Marquez onto a time lap, and it's going to be interesting to see the gap between the two and now whether it grows or whether it shrinks on this lap. Surely you would expect with the pace Marc Marquez has got, but he's going to pull away from that factory Honda. Fermin Aldeguer is also at the back of this trio, and he might have put himself in a very strong position too.
So Marc Marquez, head under the bubble, attacking hard up the hill. A 41-metre climb from your grip position to the summit of the first corner. Oh, Aldeguer down. The pace too hot for Aldeguer. He just washes out the front of that BK8 Gresini racing machine into turn 1. That's such an easy mistake to make there as you're trail braking, just trying to go with Marquez and Mir ahead of him. Aldeguer then at the moment was down in 10th place. He's been able to quickly remount that Ducati GP24. I don't think the yellow flags were barely out, were they?
Interesting looking at the lines there that Mir and Marquez were taking. Mir's closed in on Marc Marquez through the latter part of the first sector. The beginning of the second sector, Marquez was a little bit wide as they came through 8, and Mir closed in on the back of him as they now head up towards turn 11. Bagnaia starts this lap, but Joan Mir more than hanging on to the 93 up ahead.
Well, if you're going to follow anybody around COTA, you might as well pick the 93.
And picking up a bit of slipstream here too, isn't he, of course? This is an area where Honda have struggled down the straight, so Joan Mir trying to pick up a bit of faint slipstream, but both of their laps have gone away.
This could be a lap that's putting Mir on the front row. Just tries to eat into the advantage of Marquez has on the brakes. How hard was Mir pushing the front of that RC213V into that tricky, gnarly left-hander, turn 12 at the end of the back straight. He is going here, isn't he, with 93 ahead of him. What a performance this has been by Joan Mir. Through the sunshine they go then now, through turn 16. These triple apex right-handers which really do use and abuse the right-hand side of those Michelin tyres. We need to be looking at Marc Marquez and Joan Mir here, don't we? We're picking up Alex Marquez further back, coming through turn 11. Marquez is on a good lap. We can see the times for Marquez and Mir have gone ahead of him. Here comes Alex then. At the moment, this could be a front row lap here, maybe even potentially a pole lap. Estimated P3 for 73.
Absolutely astonishing first sectors for Pedro Acosta and for Luca Marini, who's 3/10 up through the first sector. That Honda clearly going very well through the twistier sections at the start of the laps. We saw Mir catching Marc Marquez, but we've got overall best first sectors for 5 separate riders: Marini, Vinales, Acosta, Miller and Alex Marquez.
There weren't too many people parting with too much of their hard-earned on Luca Marini being in Q1, even less on predicting him being in the fight for pole position in Q2, which is exactly where he finds himself. What a shot that is. Alex Marquez, full commitment, full attack mode, going through turns 18, now through 19. Marc Marquez has absolutely obliterated. He has absolutely pulverised sector 1 by nearly half a second. Is this a front row lap though by Alex Marquez? It's even better. Brilliant. What a final sector that was by Alex. A 2:01.448. Is he going to break brother Marc's 100% pole record in 2025?
Watch this then from Luca Marini. This could well be the front row for the Honda item. He just misses out, loses a quarter of a second in that final sector. He slots in ahead of his teammate into 4th place. That by far and away the best we've seen for Marini on a qualifying tyre.
Another Italian flying as well is Frankie Morbidelli. Acosta moves up to 6th place. Jack Miller are not too far behind him on the 43 Yamaha, up into 8th. Those two both now engaged on their final laps. P1 potentially incoming here for Frankie Morbidelli. Oh, he's really attacking and pushing the front of that. Oh, sectors 3 and 4 yellow flags.
Yeah, Marc Marquez might come across those shortly. Morbidelli's going to be able to get this lap in. He might just snatch pole position from Marc Marquez.
Wow, Late drama here then in COTA. Marc Marquez is going to get one more lap in this session. There are still 30 seconds remaining. Morbidelli goes up onto the front row of the grid at 2:01.529. It's Joan Mir at the crash as he tried to go with Marquez. Marquez fires in a 2:01.088. Well, surely there's going to be yellow flags to factor in, aren't there?
Yeah, Gianantonio now goes into second. Of course, it'll be Alex Marquez who will be the chief beneficiary if those yellow flags did catch Marc Marquez and Fabio Di Giannantonio. We're now getting some lap times cancelled on our screens. Bagnaia, of course, now has a green flag ahead of him, and he needs it because he's in 6th place with the checkered flag now out.
Yeah, he qualified 4th here last year, did Bagnaia. Joan Mir then was in hot pursuit of Marquez, and it was a pursuit that he wasn't able to carry on through.
Giannantonio's lap got cancelled and he was behind Marc Marquez on the track, so we'll keep an eye out on the 93. He might need to push again on this lap just to ensure he's on pole position. Bagnaia's got one more corner to go. He's 4/10ths down. If he's lucky, he might just sneak onto the front row of the grid, but it's going to be close.
This will be it is a legal lap time for Marquez because Mir, of course, was behind him, which means that Marquez was not caught up in the yellow flag drama. The Giannantonio sadly was 5th place as he looked on course for a first front row since the back end of 2023. So a 2:01.088 has put Marc Marquez on pole position by nearly 4/10 of a second here. Pedro Acosta, can he get himself, I was just about to say second row, gets himself on the front row. Great last lap that by Acosta. He really had to dig deep for that one, didn't he? A 2:01.504, still over 4/10ths behind Marc Marquez, but he is back on the front row of the grid. Top job that by Acosta.
Bagnaia is into the top 10 then on the Tech 3 KTM. This might get worse for Bagnaia yet. He's currently 5th. Fabio Di Giannantonio, having lost that previous lap due to the yellow flags, might be about to put it right. In fact, he hasn't. He's gone wide somewhere. You can see him thumping the bike. A session of what might have been for Di Giannantonio. Instead of the front row, it's back of the second.
Yeah, and Joan Mir will be frustrated as well because he was certainly looking like a real contender, a real threat for the front row, but he finds himself back in 8th place. So it is As You Were, the very familiar story of the 2025 MotoGP World Championship continues, because for the 3rd race in a row this season, we have Marc Marquez on pole position, Alex Marquez in 2nd place. Huge shout out to Pedro Acosta, sticking that KTM on the front row of the grid. Morbidelli takes the checkered flag in 4th place.
Di Giannantonio has been promoted back up into 2nd place here. Did they have another look and decide that his lap time was legal and he didn't catch the yellows? You can see on the left-hand side of your screens it's been updated. It's no longer a Marquez 1-2. Di Giannantonio, and they've now spotted it at VR46. He's now on the middle of the front row.